We have just one more day of mild weather before a major cold front arrives tomorrow, bringing big changes to North Texas. Radar is clear right now. There's nothing going on here. It's nice today. It's pleasant. We're going to be about around 50 degrees for our highs today, 50, 51 across the area. And that's quite warm compared to where we will be tomorrow afternoon. Overnight lows tonight are 34, 35 degrees. I think the vast majority of us stay above freezing. There may be some of us in those outlying areas that do get below freezing tonight. But again, this is nice and cozy compared to where things are headed as we go through the next 25, 26 hours. This is the updated model. This is a short-range model, the NAM. It is a model that usually covers around 3 days or so. Again, very tight gradient on this front. It's very clear where that is. And this is 10 a.m., so the timing hasn't changed much, and there's still a lot of thought that we could very well see this farther ahead, that it's going to be a faster front. This is actually a little bit slower than the last model run, but either way, I'm saying between 9 and 11 a.m. I think is our best chance to see this come through our area. And here's the thing, it's going to be a very, very sharp dive. The blue here is 40-degree temperatures. This pink is 20s, okay? So there's a thin line of 30 degrees in there, but when this cold front comes through, we will very, very quickly drop in temperatures. I mean, it's going to be no time at all before we are in the 20s for the remainder of the day. We'll get into the 20s for, I think, the afternoon, and then tomorrow night, hey, we're dropping towards single digits as we go forward. And this is the model, the part of the model run that is showing precipitation, and you can see a thin line, a very thin line. And this gray here does represent where there could be lighter precipitation, but really the gray, I think none of that would reach the ground, especially behind the front here. There's going to be very, very dry air, bone dry air coming in behind this front. I'm mostly concerned about what we get ahead of it. And right now, and it's been pretty consistent, that we could see a very thin line of very brief rain. If that holds, we could see some, raindrops around that freeze and, on surfaces and that kind of thing. Obviously, with temperatures dropping into the 20s so quickly, it won't take much at all for really anything that falls to just immediately freeze. The good news is, though, which really two things. One, I don't know that we will really even see much, if any, rain. A lot of it may evaporate before reaching the ground. So it won't probably be enough to be the kind of widespread rain that we would need to get major ice conditions and that kind of thing. The other thing, too, is that the ground, even if we get down to the 20s very quickly in the air, the ground takes a little more time to get warm or to get cold, rather. It cools slower is what I'm trying to say. It's been a long night with a fussy baby. But we have, this kind of on our side, that it's a thin line. Hopefully that holds, because if that's the case, by the time the front comes through and that dry air comes in, odds are whatever's there will probably evaporate because it's very, very dry air. We're going to have 20, 25 mile an hour winds coming out of the north, out behind that front. So any likelihood, anything that falls will probably evaporate very, very quickly. So in general, I don't see any major travel impacts with this front as we go forward. There's also a wind chill watch across the area, really covering all of the area. And this just means that wind chill factors will be very, very low. We have very, very strong winds coming right after the front. Those will kind of calm down the remainder of the weekend to the weekend. But hey, 20, 25 miles per hour behind the front tomorrow. And then, dropping temperatures into the single digits means that we will be below zero for those wind chill factors going forward. So keep that in mind, both all of the counties here, Ellis, Johnson, Hill, and yes, Navarro County, all included in this watch. I have to remember the 5 Ps. I'm going to keep going over this each day. People, plants, pets, pools, and pipes. The 5 things you need to remember as we are going forward. When it comes to the people, one thing I want to note is that I am staying in contact with local nonprofits and local officials to make sure that I'm aware of any warning stations or anything of that sort that might be started up. So just to let you know, I will be keeping you updated on any of those resources that may open up over the next couple of days. So here's the forecast today. It's nice, 50 degrees, partly sunny skies. The front arrives tomorrow, 40, 41 for our high. Again, we're reaching that in the morning. By the time the front comes through, we nosedive overnight tomorrow night. I think we will see, we could stay in the double digits in some places, 10, 11 degrees, but I think a lot of places will drop below that into the single digits overnight tomorrow night. Could see a thin line of rain, could be some mixed in winter precipitation with that, but the main thing is going to be the cold and the wind, the incredible wind we're going to see behind this front. I think the wind may be the biggest conversation piece after the front comes through. Friday, 25 for our high, northwest winds of 10 to 15 miles per hour. We still, I think, have wind chills. At the warmest on Friday, I think wind chills are still in the single digits. Very, very cold. 17 for the low Friday night. Saturday, winds calm down. We get close to freezing. 32 is the freezing point. So I think some of us may reach 33, 34, if ever so briefly. But for the most part, we're below freezing. We get very cold again Saturday night. Sunday, Christmas Day, we finally warm up into the low 40s. But we get down below, just below freezing, to the upper 20s that night. Monday looks nice and warm. Again, relatively warm, right? Does look like we have a weak cold front coming in at that point. Doesn't look like it's going to do much. Lows in the low 30s. And then Tuesday, we're warm again at the low 50s. So just keep in mind, today, very nice. Last day to really take care of anything outdoors that needs to be taken care of. Securing outdoor items, covering up those pipes and those faucets and that kind of thing. Tomorrow, the front arrives somewhere between 9 and 11 a.m. Could have a thin line of rain. Very strong winds behind it. We get dangerously cold overnights. A couple of days below freezing. And then we warm up for Christmas Day.